Many people wonder what happens to their property when they pass away, but you first have to know what your options are during your lifetime to understand what happens when you're gone. I'm Katrina Hofstetter with Cornerstone Legal, and we're going to talk about the ways different types of property transition after you pass. I do want to point out the focus in this video is not necessarily going to be on living trusts and how those can be incorporated with planning. Living trusts do provide different types of options, but you would still involve many of the steps that we're going to walk through. Let's talk about real property first. This is going to include your home, your cottage up north, any type of vacant land that you have, anything really that you own by way of a deed. And I want you to keep in mind that the options that we're going to talk about are really going to be limited to Michigan. And if you have questions about your ownership, you should consult with an attorney in the state in which you own the property. Now, if you have a deed and you have a joint owner and you pass away, essentially your ownership interest is just going to dissolve and it's going to go to that joint owner. Now, if your deed specifically says that you are a tenant in common, or if there's no designation on your deed at all, then your ownership interest does not dissolve when you pass away. And it's very likely going to need to go through probate administration. The third option would be if you have a ladybird deed. Many people have heard of this before. And a ladybird deed is really the equivalent of having a beneficiary built right into your deed. And if you pass away, that property is automatically going to transfer to that individual. Now, another common inquiry that I get is vehicles. How are those going to transfer when we pass away? And it's important to understand, similar to real property, if there's a joint owner, it's going to go to that person. And for the most part, nothing really needs to happen. Now, if there's not a joint owner, Michigan does have a unique option. The Secretary of State has their own process, and it allows the closest next of kin. So think spouse first, then maybe adult children. And that closest next of kin is able to transfer that property without probate, without a beneficiary designation. They just have to sign a form. Now you're going to have to present a death certificate, and you are limited to $60,000 in value. But it is a nice little process that is just built right at the Secretary of State. The next type of asset that we're going to talk about is kind of a lumped category of all of your cash. You've got checking, savings, investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all of those types of accounts. And these could be accounts that you manage yourself or that you have managed by an advisor. But in general, most of those banks and credit unions and companies, they're going to allow you to name a beneficiary or multiple beneficiaries. They might call it a TOD or transfer on death, but it's the same thing. And once you name beneficiaries, you pass away, the asset's going to transfer directly to them. The same can really apply to life insurance, and it's pretty common that life insurance agents are going to encourage you to name a beneficiary on your policies. Someone's going to have to file a claim, but that asset is going to transfer to your named beneficiaries. Now, retirement accounts are a whole different bag of worms. With retirement accounts, you really need to exercise caution when you're naming your beneficiaries, and you would benefit from consulting your financial advisor, maybe a tax professional, possibly an attorney like myself. These accounts are typically taxable when they pay out to the beneficiaries. And there are new rules that determine how and when those assets pay out. So big picture, if you have a joint owner, it's going to go to them. If you don't have a joint owner and you don't have a named beneficiary, you might be looking at probate. And we talked about the probate process in Michigan in our videos from last month, so you can go check those out. Now that you have a hopefully better understanding of the ways that different types of property pass when you do, you should go review your assets and make sure that you have planning in place. You can reach out to us here at Cornerstone Legal for all of your estate planning needs. Thanks for watching. Call us at 517-708-2222 or email Katrina@cornerstonelegalpllc.com to start your journey today.